Episode 11. The only person to persuade is yourself. One of my quotes, it states, "You say it's what's happened to you outwardly. I say it's what you are doing to you inwardly." There's always something that you are doing unconsciously or saying that is negatively impacting the person you desire to become. Now you ask yourself the question, what is it? Because there's usually a theme that's going on in our mind, but we must simply become aware of it. Silence is always an avenue, quieting your mind, quieting what's going on around you is always a good idea and a conduit to help you become more aware. When you quiet the noise, anything that's going on becomes amplified. Now, if you ask yourself that question honestly, you will find out the answer. And once you find out the answer, will you have the courage to make the change? Everything starts and begins with you. That's something you should always remember. And if that's the case, you will never blame anyone outside of yourself for what's going on. And what I mean is, if I can blame someone for what's going on with my life, then I become incapable of changing my life. But if I could do something and I feel empowered about changing my life, I can always change my life because there's something that I believe that I could do to make things differently. So there is. Start from within, persuading your own self. If you are able to persuade yourself that you are already the person you desire to be, or persuade yourself that you have achieved the goal you set out to accomplish, you will certainly experience it in your life. You persuade yourself constantly, making sure that you are living and feeling that which you desire to be. Start your day and end your day believing and feeling yourself to be the person you've dreamed and desired to become. Now you get the mental image and bring it into your consciousness several times a day. Play it like a motion picture until over the course of time it begins to appear automatically. At the beginning, practicing this may be difficult, but it becomes easier the more you practice it. Now, nothing that is worthwhile comes easy. So there will be this period of time that you're doing something that you've never done before. You're trying to be consistent at something you've never been consistent at doing before. So it may be difficult. It will be difficult. Just like going to the gym for the first time. If you've ever gone to the gym and say you wanted to work out and change your dietary habits, it's difficult because it's something you haven't done before and you want to be consistent at doing it. But once you get in the rhythm and a routine, it becomes easier. Just like practicing an instrument per se. If you were in middle school or grade school and you practicing an instrument, I remember when I was in middle school, I wanted to play the trumpet, so I started to practice, and it was difficult because If there's anyone ever played the trumpet, you have to blow in the trumpet a certain way, like a buzz, and your lips become sore, your fingers sore from pressing the notes. And it's just a process of getting used to. Even as some people learn how to play the piano, I've heard people who learn to play the piano talk about their finger placement and their wrists. You have to get that placement. So it's not easy, but it is worthwhile to see that which you desire come into your life. So never underestimate simplicity. Make things simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, but simplicity rules. Make everything as simplistic as possible. The more you are able to make things simplistic, the easier it becomes to replicate. Anything that's difficult or a lot of bells and whistles that comes with it, after a while you may give up if it's difficult. But the more simplistic you make it, the better. How do you erect? Now, the more it becomes easier, but how do you erect the wall of a building? Simplistically, one brick at a time. You don't start with a wall, you start with one brick, one thing at a time, and then you build. Just like starting to get yourself at the beginning of your day. You start believing and feeling the easiest time, because when you wake up, you're usually in a relaxed state and your mind is calm, and you can easily influence your subconscious mind. In the morning, when you first awake, and right before you go to sleep. So if you can just take a few moments to influence your subconscious mind at those vital stages, it becomes easier, because you're looking for a theme that your subconscious mind builds. It becomes impulsive. Once something is implanted into your subconscious mind, it becomes impulsive, right? It brings forth that which it has been imprinted upon impulsively. So take advantage of those times of the day and feeling yourself to be it, not feeling from a distance as if you're observing it, but feeling yourself to be presently in that state, that which you desire. Now, the legendary rapper turned movie star Will Smith, he started as a rapper, he became a movie star. Well, he went to television first. I don't know if you all remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think that's one of his first roles, possibly. Then he went into movies, and he had some really blockbuster movies that he's been a part of throughout the years. I remember this time he was interviewed, and he told a story about being a young kid when his dad told him and his younger brother to build a new wall for the front of his refrigeration store. He said his father had this business, and so they dug a 6 feet deep hole for the wall's foundation, and they had to mix the concrete by hand that they poured into the foundation. He said the entire process took he and his brother 1.5 years to complete. And every day after school, they would go to the store and work on the wall until finally it was completed. And after the final brick was laid, he said that his father told him and his younger brother, don't ever tell him that they can't do something. Don't ever tell him that they cannot do something, because before they started, they didn't know how to build a wall. They weren't brick masons. They didn't have any of those skill sets as an adult person. So he learned from an early age, in order to do something great, you simply must set out to lay one brick as perfectly as any brick could be laid. And when you look back over the course of time, you will have that great wall that you're looking for. So one step at a time. Don't skip steps. Simply enjoy and trust the process. Allow your life to become totally transformed by constantly visualizing and feeling yourself into your desired life, as if it were happening right now in this very moment. If you desire to be a business owner, simply act like you own that business now. Dress like you own that business now. Speak like you own that particular business now. Have relationships like you own that business now. Eat at restaurants like you own that business now. And perhaps you can't do it outwardly. You may say, I don't have the money to eat at these restaurants or buy these clothes. You can put these clothes on and have these friendships in your imagination. So there's always something you can do. Never be limited by something tangible. Start within. Convince yourself, persuade yourself. That's what you're trying to do. Persuading yourself. The easiest way is through your imagination. This is the place that all of your dreams come true. There's this quote by Ruth Fissel. She said, when we relive old experiences, our bodies do not know whether they are happening now or in our minds. So our bodies respond as if it were now. Our minds and bodies do not know the difference between real and imagined. So if you get in your imagination about that which you desire to be and make it in the present moment, your body and your mind doesn't know the difference. So it's imprinting your subconscious mind as if it were now, and it will bring forth your desire. You are constantly imprinting it, your subconscious mind, that is, through your experiences, repetition. But you're often not consciously aware, and they affect your life negatively when you're not aware and you're doing something that's negatively affecting it. There's this quote by Catherine Ponder. She said, what you notice, give attention to, talk about, get all worked up over emotionally is what you are inviting into your life, whether you mean to or not. So becoming more consciously aware is important to all of us. What we give attention to is so powerful that this law even affects animals. In the book of Genesis, Jacob's father-in-law Laban continually cheated him, so he set out to get even with him. By taking rods and peel white streaks in it, he set the rods before the younger flocks in the gutters and the watering troughs, so when they came to drink, they should conceive when they came to drink. So when the cattle conceived, they brought forth and produced ring-streaked, speckled, and spotted cattle, which was his reward. Those cattle who has those spots and speckles on it, because what they saw, they produced. Even so, what we see, we produce. What we're seeing in our imagination is produced. It produces itself in our physical life. Whatever you see, you will produce. That's why it's so important that you place in your imagination, heart and mind, what you want and not what you don't want. Your life will go in the direction of your most dominant theme or meditation. I know if you ever spoke to someone and they repetitiously had a theme about what they said. No matter when you spoke to them, there was this repetition, this meditation they were constantly having, and oftentimes it's unawares. Be proactive. Be proactive in the things that you learn. Never wait to implement them. Tomorrow never gets here. We only have today. Remember that. What we say tomorrow, every time we get there, we change it into today. So be proactive today and begin implementing the things you've learned. Start the process of your new mind creation. Also, remember to join me again next week for an all-new episode of New Mind Creator.